puppies. I need to make sure I'm live. It's KJ. I'm here in KJ's kitchen. I am a master fitness trainer for the past 13 years. I am a fitness nutrition specialist, and above all, a happy mom serving up healthy meals from my kitchen to yours every Wednesday at noon here on Facebook. Popped in and said, are you going live today? So I need to make sure I'm live. Can anyone see me? Hello, hello. I need some response from someone to see if I'm actually live, because I don't see the clock ticking and I don't see anyone joining. I already started cooking, but I stopped it and I'm starting again to make sure I am live. Can anybody see this? Oh, well, here we're gonna go. We're gonna fly with this and hope that this time it is a go. So I already did some prep work. Let's talk real quick. You gotta get to football parties, you're inviting people over, it's the holidays. It's always great to offer nutritious options. Now this is also a really good option for an appetizer for even your family if you like to add it into your dinner. So, I'm just gonna keep rolling with this, hoping that we're live. Okay. I'm gonna tell you that the original recipe of this came from a rodeo bar in New York City called Rodeo. And we loved it on the menu. Of course, theirs was deep fried, definitely not the health conscious version I'm giving you today, but that's what we're all about, is lifestyle, real food, convenient, easy, and I say easy because this is, in your kitchen that you can actually bring health to delicious, awesome meals. We call them Cowboy Kisses. Now, I'm gonna have you set your oven to 400, get that started, and get it preheating, because we are not gonna fry these puppies, we are gonna bake them. But if you do have an air fryer, that might be something. I'm not familiar with air fryers yet, although I wanna get my hands on one. So if this works in an air fryer, rock and roll. Let's start here. I already, before, on when I thought I was live, did some pre-cut jalapeno. I do have one little guy left, so I would like to teach you my jalapeno tricks. If you do not eat jalapenos, don't run away, because these are not so hot when they're fresh. They're really hot if you get them pickled or jarred. So you could just bite it and not be like smoking out of your ears. It's awesome. They're fresh, taste more like pepper than they do jalapeno. There's a little kick, don't get me wrong. But the heat is in the seeds. That's why when people chop them and throw them in a jar, it really gets hot. So we're gonna avoid the seeds, and we're gonna avoid touching the seeds. Do not touch the seeds. What I'm doing is I'm cutting it long ways. So I got this little guy, right? He can be a little alligator if you had your kids nearby. Alligator. I'm using a little paring knife. And I'm gonna take it around the crown where the stem is, and I'm just gonna cut in slightly, not to cut off the seeds, just to cut through the actual wall of the pepper. You're only getting pepper off. So I'm gonna kind of peek in and see where the ribs are. There's ribs lining the pepper wall that hold on to those seeds. Because I got my tiny little knife, I'm kind of gonna scrape the wall of the pepper and check him out. It's almost like surgery over here. And scrape that wall of the pepper. What happens is, no seeds. All I did was take my knife in and slowly cut down that rib. The seeds are still intact. I'm gonna do that to the other side here, very gently. I know you can't really see down on my chop block up close because I don't have a camera guy yet. And look what comes out, the whole heart of the pepper, seeds and all, right? So I'm not touching them. And I'm not touching them if a couple are left. In the shell, I use my knife and I scrapey scrape. I tell you, the oils on these seeds will linger. If you touch them, you never want to touch your child the rest of the day or your eyeballs. It will hurt. There are enough reasons in this world to shed tears, and jalapenos are not one of them. So cut them properly. Here you go. These are not jalapeno poppers. These are not, let's hollow it out and stuff it. These are just bolts. They're the bottoms, right? Little bottoms. And instead of stuffing it with cheese, we're gonna stuff it with something much healthier and high protein. we are gonna stuff it with shrimp. Now, I do suggest finding wild-caught shrimp. These in particular are uncooked Argentinian wild-caught red shrimp. They're frozen at Trader Joe's, $10 a bag. They're big too. But even if you only have a place like Walmart nearby, you can get wild-caught shrimp at such an affordable price there, especially if you're willing to defrost it and peel and detail them. These have been peeled and untailed for me, but you could get a bag of large at Walmart for a very reasonable price. They might not be red and Argentinian, but they are wild-caught and they will do the trick if you're a family on a budget. So this is in replacement of our cheese in what would be a traditional jalapeno popper. And I like to tuck that little puppy up so his little tail matches the tail end of the jalapeno. Okay, so he's just tucked in nice and comfy in his boat right there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do that across the board. You might match up the biggest shrimps with the biggest peppers because that kind of makes sense, right? And I'm doing a few of these today. You're gonna see 6 of them in the making, but you personally might double, triple, quadruple, do the whole bag of shrimp, depends on how many people are coming to your party. And you get your little toothpicks nearby, okay? I'm gonna even pull a bunch of them out before I get my hands too messy. Get your toothpicks ready. And let's talk about the blanket. You heard of pigs in a blanket, right? So let's remove the pig from the inside of the blanket. I'm bringing the pig back though. We are talking bacon. Who loves bacon? Here we go. I like to use, Hormel makes this. I grab it at Walmart or I get it at Trader Joe's, a different brand, a Trader Joe's brand. Nitrite free. That's what helps you make bacon better, is remove the preservatives. This is natural, meaning like they only use cultured celery juice and sea salt and sugar instead of nitrites. So remove the chemical, put in real food, you still have an awesome bacon. And you know, non-hormone and all that other stuff that they like to tell us is happening. So instead of wrapping your pig in a blanket, we're wrapping our cowboy kisses in the pig. The pig is our blanket. I cut the bacon in half, so it's half length. And I take my little jalapeno stuffed shrimp and I'm gonna wrap him up. And now I start at the one end and I start to make the blanket turn around until he wraps that shrimp up. You see that, puppy? He is wrapped and ready. Now with your little toothpick, you are going to poke it through. It gets through the bacon. That's what it's doing, is holding the bacon in place. It gets through the bacon. It gets through both sides of the pepper and the shrimp itself. So you also have a little finger holder, right? There you go, a little popper with a little holder there. I suggest you lining your tray, your baking sheet, with parchment paper to make sure that it doesn't get so sticky with all that bacon once you start grilling her up, right? Gonna do a couple more to show you again if you need that. You take your bacon, it's a little drippy because of the defrosted shrimp. Got it out of a bowl of water. Get your little bacon. I start at the fat end. I wrap it, starting one layer so it catches one end. The bacon closes on itself on one end, like you're wrapping up a child for any of you who ever swaddled a baby. So we're swaddling our shrimp today. Okay, wrap him up. And you take your toothpick, depending on how short. This pepper is very short because he wasn't super round. I'm still gonna eyeball it really close. Get it through the bacon, get it through the shrimp. So he is attached, all right? And we'll do one more just so it's pretty. This guy's really big. He's gonna be really pretty and easy to capture. Got this last piece of bacon here. Wrapping him up. Ooh, aren't these looking delicious? They're not even cooked yet, making my mouth water. All right, get your toothpick. Good thing bacon stretches, so if you feel like you missed it and you're not gonna be able to catch it, you can just pull that fat down, poke him through the shrimp, get him poked, and you got your little shrimpy. This guy's got his little tail sticking out, haha. All right, so you're gonna load up your pan. The oven's ready, I heard it beep at me. You are gonna put these in the oven. It's set at 400. Have your oven rack nice and high to the heat, assuming your heat is at the top like mine. If you have a broiler, you might do that, but you really have to watch it if you're doing broiler because it can burn in a second. I do suggest you letting this more slow cook, so you both cook the shrimp and get that jalapeno a little better cooked, so it does produce a little bit more heat. So you're gonna pop this in the oven. I suggest about 30 minutes. You're gonna keep an eye, and what I do is I turn them. So because you have the nice toothpick, you might even start upside down and have them all face down so that you then get the bottom of the bacon nice and crispy. About 10-15 minutes, check it out, flip it over, cool toothpick trick, flip it over and cook the top half until ready. So you might work your way up towards 30 minutes. That's gonna be dependent on your closeness to the heat, where that rack is, and to altitude, oven, all the other stuff that goes in there. But we're not done. We are going to now make a homemade chipotle dressing dip. You know, it's not necessarily a dressing, it's a dip. So I'm just gonna move my little Cowboy Kisses over and let's start dressing. We're gonna make this healthy. Instead of a chipotle ranch, which would have usually a ranch dressing base, buttermilk and everything else, we're just gonna keep it clean with protein. And we are going to use Greek yogurt, plain. I do suggest you use 2%, because it has a little bit more fat than the zero and it tastes a little closer to sour cream. And we're gonna start with a half cup. I'm just putting this straight into a Pyrex because I will put it in a dish to serve. So I'm gonna just eyeball that puppy in till he's a half cup. Maybe a little more. There I go. Awesome and awesome. This one is from Trader Joe's. You can find Greek yogurt at all the stores. Just make sure it is plain. Now we're gonna talk spice. I do want to go into the teaspoon of garlic powder. Now this is garlic powder, not garlic salt. And you're gonna rock and roll this guy. 1 teaspoon. Boop. And then we're gonna go with a 1/4 teaspoon of onion salt. Here we go, 1/4 teaspoon. Again, I can go ahead and have this all posted for you. You don't gotta keep your hands rocking because you can sign up to my newsletter and get these all delivered to you. We're gonna go with a 1/2 teaspoon of dried dill. Okay, this is gonna be a little fresh because you're gonna put some heat in this chipotle dip. The dill does forefront a really nice fresh crispness. And then cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, skip it. But if you do, we're gonna go with 1/4 teaspoon of dried cilantro. It's not overpowering at all. We're gonna go with the heat. Now, if you need this more mild, you're gonna skip the cayenne and only use chili powder. But to give it a boost of heat, I'm gonna be using just a little bit of the cayenne, like a 1/4 teaspoon, to really boost the heat factor. And then you're gonna look for, if it's possible, you find chipotle chili powder. Chipotle chili powder is a little different than regular chili powder. It's gonna give you that chipotle feeling. Now, if not, it's okay, use regular chili powder. Not the end of the world. I'm doing a 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder in there. And then for a boost of color, and who doesn't like the flavor of paprika, I'm gonna go with a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. We do want some regular salt in there to taste. I do suggest 1/4 teaspoon. If you keep yours in a little bucket like mine, that was about 1/8. Let me get a little more, I'm getting low. There you go. And now that's all the dried ingredients. We're gonna add in a little bit of liquid. You could use lemon juice. I personally like apple cider vinegar, so use what you have at home. You're gonna do a teaspoon of vinegar. It's gonna give it a little zing. The zing is a good thing when you're talking with heat. Bring in a little acid, and then you're going to use water. Water is gonna thin it out. Now, pardon my reach, I've got a little built-in water guy here, and I'm going to need to get some water in my cup. I didn't I didn't prep my guy. So here's my water. Got it out of my fridge. How cool is that? There we go. Tablespoon 1. Whoop. Tablespoon 2. Whoop. There you go. 2 tablespoons. That is that. Okay, maybe a lot of spices, but it's gonna taste so good. And your base is just Greek yogurt. So this is how I'm bringing you a forefront of health to something that would be just completely indulgent. You would, if you found these Cowboy Kisses at a restaurant, get them deep fried. They would be so stinking hot. Like at the Rodeo Bar, they used the whole jalapeno, shoved a small baby shrimp inside, wrapped it in bacon and deep fried it. So you were on fire. So I modified this to make it my own KJ recipe by using a half a jalapeno and by baking them, not frying them. And I use a big old honkin' shrimp in there too. So you really get the shrimp bacon love with a touch of heat, because who wants to walk around, you know, on fire at a party and, you know, you have to drink more beer and drink more whatever. So I'm just saving you extra calories, guys. This is the chipotle dressing. I'll show that to you. Get that up in the camera. It is nice colored because of the chili powder and the paprika. If you want it to be more red looking, add more paprika. You could even do a smoked paprika because that would even add a little element of smokiness to it. Let me give her a little test drive. Now here's the deal. This little dressing, I personally think, oh, that's nice and hot too. I personally think the longer you let it sit, the more those spices marinade into the dressing. So you'd want to make this in advance, of course. Once you get these puppies out of the oven, you are looking at a fabulous, I did these this morning to show you, a fabulous little appetizer. Dip, dip, eat. I go ahead and bite one for you to tell you how good they are, but I'm actually cleansing today. So my husband gets to enjoy these. You could either serve up the sauce in an individual ramekin with little plates if this was an appetizer for a dinner, or you could just have your tray out, your plate out, the serving platter with all of them, and a nice good sized bowl of the dip where people would just spoon it onto their plate at will. If you find that the chipotle dip is a little too spicy, just serve it up with a homemade ranch without the chipotle in it, and that's quite all right too. Would be delicious. I hope that this recipe served you. I hope it was live. I hope at least when I post it, it will become live. If you are not on my newsletter and would like to get all KJ Kitchen recipes into your inbox, then you will sign up on the link below. If you are already subscribed, don't you click that link. This recipe will be in your inbox soon. If you loved what you saw today, please share it on your wall, tag a friend who you think this might serve, and join me here every Wednesday at 12 o'clock on Facebook. Unless today I started recording and didn't realize it. It was more like 12:15. Have a great one, guys. Happy Wellness Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you again next week. You take care.